just jump straight into it?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, hello and welcome again to a new episode of the KewCast. I'm John, joined again by my good pal Eddie. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good.
Good. Yeah.
It's Monday morning.
Monday morning. I feel fall coming on, Eddie. It is getting a little chilly out there.
And the wind yesterday was just bonkers.
Yeah. Michelle, my wife, and I went out and played at South Boulder Rec Center. And there's a little bit of shelter there. You're right under the mountains, and it's in a depression, but still, it's just like, at one point I lobbed, and it literally like flew over the person and then came back behind her. As
Hey, you're playing the wind.
Right. Yeah. How was your weekend?
Pretty good. I played a little pickleball. Met this couple down at Gates Tennis Center a couple weeks ago, and we played them yesterday, Hannah and Nick. They're super, super nice. One of those stories where they met on the pickleball court and have subsequently got engaged to be married. So a little love connection on the pickleball court.
Yes, indeed. Very cool.
Which is awesome.
What brought you out down to Gates?
Just to see different things, play with different people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You been down there lately?
No, the last time I was there was for the PPA like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really jumped in on pickleball.
Okay.
So lots of, dedicated pickleball courts. It's a good
great.
scene down there.
That's great. They must have converted some tennis courts because that's pretty confined space down there in Cherry
Creek, yeah.
Yeah, that's established Denver for sure.
Real estate prices can't be cheap.
No. Good to hear you're getting around.
Yep.
Meeting new people.
Yep, we got a couple of games later today.
Yes, we do. We are going to be testing more paddles, as we always do.
Love it.
Let's jump into the latest news. So you and I have been, if we mentioned this last week too, but we've been part of this PPA Pick'em, and shout out to Brett Mack with PPA. He is the one organizing this, and he just got a bunch of friends together and paddle reviewers, and we're all just predicting the whole draw. This time, it was a slog, like choosing like every bracket from the very beginning. Two tournaments ago, we did it from the quarterfinals on. Last tournament, the wooden paddle tournament, we did the whole thing. For some reason, this one was just like, holy cow. By the end of this, I was like, end of choosing everything, I was just like, I'm pressing the button, just over and over. Right. But it's been a ton of fun doing this. And did you check out our current standings?
We were doing okay after the first couple days, and I haven't kept up with it to see how things progressed over the weekend.
Yeah. I started off good. So Isaac was first. I was second. This was after day one. And now I think I'm down kind of in you and I together, or like if you can average our scores, are down in the middle of the pack.
Okay.
Yeah. But they also do a podcast, and they put out the first one, and they're just kind of reviewing what happened in this whole pick'em. And I thought this was Brett, Samson, and Marcus. I guess they're all three friends, and they just have a really good kind of chemistry on the camera together, and they joke around a lot. I really enjoyed that first one, so I'll be watching. We'll link to their new podcast down below. Yeah, lots of trash talk.
Any takeaways from the process, John, of trying to pick these games? It's really difficult.
It is. I mean, you can consider their duper, obviously, in their standing and who's surging and who's not. But there's always one thing I've realized doing this whole process is there's more upsets than
exactly
I used to think there were. Especially in like the round of 32, round of 16. There's always like some really random stuff going on down in those brackets, right? Trying
to predict those upsets is the challenge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's true of any sort of situation like this, but
for sure.
There's going to be an upset. It's just a matter of trying to figure out which one.
Yeah.
Right?
My problem this time is that I didn't have enough faith in Chris Hayward.
I was going to say, that's your boy.
He was my dark horse two tournaments ago when he first was signed by the PPA, and he faced Fed Staksrud in the round of 32, I think. No, it was quarterfinals. That's where we started last time. And I was like, I bet on Chris because I know he came over from APP. I knew he was number one there, but I played with him a couple times, and I've seen his game, and it's incredible, right? So that ended up being great. This time I had him going up to semifinals and losing in semifinals, but he took it all the way this time. shout out to Chris. He is a great guy too. I love his interviews. He's just so humble and funny, hilarious guy.
So, John, we need to take this more seriously, I think, and have a strategic planning meeting before the next tournament and really sort of get our wits together on how to proceed in a very logical way.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Between the two of us,
right,
we're going to choose different people who we think might be
exactly.
upset. One person plays the conservative, the other plays
we need to diversify our portfolio.
I like it. By the end, I think we have 6 tournaments, and then they're going to kind of crown a winner, And I think they take the average, so it's like Pickleball Studio, Pickleball Pursuit, Pickleball Effect, our podcast, and there's like the Dink and a few others. It's a pretty
That's
big
great
crew.
that they could pull everybody
King of the
together
Court,
like
Jimmy.
that.
Yeah, cool stuff. All right. Well, let's move on then. So a few other news items here. The YOLA 3S is now out for $200, and it is in a bunch of new colorways. It's all the crazy gradients and stuff, which you're a huge fan of, Eddie.
Well, it's growing on me.
Is it? You don't mind those new YOLAs?
I mean, there's good and there's bad.
Okay. Yeah. So they're pretty sharp looking, and they dropped the price down to $200. So I just wanted to mention that. They're also dual certified if you want to play in as a pro in PPA events.
I thought at one time they were talking about actually releasing 2 different versions with different grit levels, and did that not happen?
It did. There was a UPAA only with higher grit for a while. They may still be offering those.
Okay.
It's all confusing, but yeah, these are the dual certified ones, which is a safe bet for anybody who's potentially in like the pro qualies at PPA events. Otherwise, if you're amateur, it doesn't matter. If your USAP paddle will still work at the PPA tournaments.
So just buy it if you like the aesthetics, I guess.
Yeah. And, $200 for the YOLA is a good deal. Colleges across the U.S. are investing big in pickleball. So I'll link to this pickleball.com article. I've got a few standouts here. So the University of Alabama invested $1.6 million in pickleball to have 10 dedicated courts. Texas A&M now also has 10 dedicated courts, as well as 18 temporary courts. University of Maryland has 16 courts. I don't know if all 16 of those are dedicated or they're sharing space on tennis courts. What's that?
That's my Terps.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice. I love it. Ohio State, they have 8 new pickleball courts in addition to their 16 tennis courts. That is a huge tennis college. 16 courts. Holy cow. But yeah, I'm assuming that their pickleball will only grow. Baylor down in Texas, I think Justin from Pickleball Etc. lives in Baylor. 11 new pickleball courts at Baylor. University of Georgia, 18 pickleball courts. University of Michigan, 12 indoor courts, almost finished. And there's hundreds of other universities with 1, 2, 3, 4 or so courts, right? So it's becoming a big deal in colleges and universities, and the Duper Collegiate National Championships is booming. And what do you see, Eddie, with the new college crowds playing?
Well, it's only a matter of time till we see it as a NCAA sanctioned sport. That would be very cool to see. I did see over the weekend that the CU Buffalo squad will be training and practicing up at Third Shot.
Oh, awesome. I didn't hear about that.
So, yeah, that's cool.
Longmont?
Yep.
Okay. Nice. Very cool. No, I'd love to hear that. And man, if pickleball would have been an option when I was in college, like a legitimate sport, I'd never heard of it until COVID, right? But I can see it being hugely appealing to a very, very wide college demographic, from the elite athletes all the way down to people just who want to have fun in it, and everybody who plays pickleball, most people want to compete at some level, right? So,
speaking of Maryland, I believe that there is some burgeoning effort to roll it out in high schools. So I believe there are a couple of high school teams out there, and perhaps they're competing with each other. I think that's fantastic. That's kind of the backyard of YOLA, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's becoming big at local high schools that I know of, and I'm sure it's nationwide. So Peak to Peak here in Lafayette, this is a K-12 school. They started a pickleball club. Some of our neighbors were coordinating the club, and there are over 100 members of the club already. And I've donated 40-something paddles to them.
Awesome.
I donated 20-something paddles to Boulder Public Schools for their K-12 program as well recently. So, yeah, a lot of people are reaching out, just like, hey, I hear you've got a whole basement full of paddles. I'm like, yes, please take some of these, right? So those are just like two, low-hanging fruit that just happen to be in the area. I'm sure this is happening all across the U.S. as well.
So our Wake Forest Pickleball Club, where I came from in North Carolina, used to go to the high school every year, and there would be a students versus Wake Forest Pickleball Club challenge. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, like the old folks in the pickleball club would just smoke the kids, and they would have a great time. But I doubt that that's still true. Like those kids are pretty damn good now.
No, yeah, the kids these days. By the way, I'm playing with JJ again this year at Worlds in Dallas in November, and. So he's like 20-something, right? Mm-hmm. So we're in the 8-year-old to 35-year-old bracket. We did that last year too. The gold medalists last year looked like they were 12 years old, and we were on the bronze podium. We're hoping to go all the way this year, but yeah, we might be facing 12-year-olds or 10-year-olds, and
John,
they're probably
like
amazing.
Smoked by a preteen,
for sure. That'll be fun. Well, good stuff. All right, let's move on to another bullet point for news. I mean, we can't have a podcast this week without talking about Denis Uspensky, who his videos of his hooks and on-court action, demeanor went viral this past week, and he was actually suspended for 90 days this month by UPA for blatant cheating and abusive behavior toward opponents.
This guy's bonkers, man.
So, yeah, you just watched it this morning. Did you? Any thoughts on it?
Just shocking.
Yeah, right.
I mean, just the on-court behavior, the language, those hook calls were just,
egregious.
Nuts. I mean, ball's in by that much.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the ref missed it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
I know they're looking at the kitchen,
at the feet and stuff, but normally, I've been to a few tournaments where it hasn't been purposefully hooked, but I saw it on the line. They called it out, and I was like, "Ref, did you see that?" And they were like, "Yeah, that was in." So I've had some overturns, in my tournament experience, but maybe those PPA referees are so laser focused.
Yeah, but
on
it's
the
singles.
Feet.
I mean, they're not spending a ton of time at the kitchen. And in those calls in particular, they weren't at the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, there were the hooks, and there was the name calling and the challenging them to a fight off the court, like the opponent as well as people in the crowd. The guys, ooh, yeah. And then did you read his response to all this after he got?
He's nuts, man.
In some regard, nobody wants to be publicly humiliated, although you can argue he certainly deserved it. But yeah, I'll read his response on Facebook. He's like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm forced to take it. I'll take my 90 days and sit, but don't get it twisted. I'm not going anywhere. I'm ready to battle anyone, anytime right now. I don't need full-time training to be top 10 in the world. I'm already there. I respect the game, just not the softness around it. This isn't a sport built on soft feelings. It's built on fire, drive, and edge. So in 90 days, I'm coming back to show you exactly what the best player in the world looks like. I'll be in Boca Raton if anyone wants to run it. Let's play for your drip. I don't even know what that means. Play for your drip. No cameras, no refs.
Don't know.
No cameras, no refs. All caps, ha 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 ha, like 30 ha-has. Just your paddle and your pride. Come for it. This is the funniest part. And yeah, the RPM paddle, absolute garbage. And he tagged James Ignatowicz.
What's the beef there?
Where did they come from? I have no idea. Maybe James said something about it. This has been massive news. Zane Navrat on the Dink. Mentioned
Guy's got an ego the size of this room. I
mean, he's certainly leaning into the villain role here for sure. I don't know if some of this is jest or tongue in cheek, but he sounds unhinged. Sounds a little
got some rage issues.
He got some rage issues.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's bound to happen, right? As pickleball becomes bigger, that's going to cast a bigger net. You're going to get some diverse personalities inside of this sport. I wonder what it looks like looking in from we hear it all the time from people who love tennis, and just but like seeing this kind of behavior in pickleball, I mean, it's drawing eyes for sure, which is on some sense not the worst thing, but my God.
You ever seen anything like that in person?
Nothing this egregious, no.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier this year we had the guy that lost it and kicked the other guy in the face, knocking him out cold on the pickleball court.
Right.
But you could tell that guy was immediately like, oh crap, what did I do? You know, this guy there's no sorry in this guy, right? Kind of crazy. They nickname him Suspensky, I think.
I love it.
All right. Well, let's move. I just wanted to touch on that. No, I mean, obviously outrageous behavior. I don't have any strong feelings about it. Just stuff like this is probably going to happen. As long as he's not violently attacking people, we're okay, right? But I think the suspension is warranted.
You know, I don't mind like a little bit of, you know, hyperactivity or even intensity, but when it crosses a line into like
threats.
Personal comments and threats and let's take it out.
Derogatory.
Yeah.
That's not cool. Kind of ridiculous. All right, last bullet point here. I was chatting with Jam, the owner of Honolulu, and he saw our podcast a couple weeks ago I think it was with James Inatowicz, where I was like, this would be a good kind of investigative journalism piece on the new full foam floating cores and how that got developed, meaning the Selkirk boomsticks, the Honolulu J2 and F and FC Plus series, the bread and butter locos, all these ones with EPP in the center and an EVA band around the exterior floating. And my hypothesis was that it was invented in that factory who makes all these paddles by one of their workers in there, and you know, kind of shopped out to different brands. And we saw the previous iteration of that with honeycomb polypropylene and the 11624 Power Series and the Selkirk eras, right? And then they just replaced that honeycomb with the EPP foam to make this. But they're now probably objectively the best playing paddles out there, right? And they're being iterated on with different types of foam and all this. So I just thought it was kind of a cool curiosity. But Jam reached out to me. I got permission to bring this up, but he was like, it was actually his idea to do that. They did it first in the J2. I can't remember if it was the FC Plus, probably FC Plus, and then created the notching and the NF series. And then he gave that factory in China permission to, you know, share it with other companies. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool little thing that it wasn't a huge innovation. It was an iteration of a previously existing technology, but man, did that ever spark something like a revolution in full foam technology. I don't think that Honolulu gets enough credit for their innovations. And I've heard some stuff from Jam as well, that he's working on his own R&D lab there in Honolulu, and he's getting a CT scanner and wanted to know if I wanted some paddles scanned. I was like, yes, absolutely. So some 3D scans of paddles. He's got some, you know, clearly he's going to be doing PBCOR and all that stuff. So good to see him investing, you know, some of his success and back into R&D and you know, kind of some innovative stuff coming from Honolulu.
It's come so far so fast, John, and it seems like in this day and age, if you don't have kind of that layered foam offering in your lineup, you're way behind.
Yeah, right. We got into it a little bit on the James interview too, like what's the next iteration that's going to lead to this kind of revolution. But it's kind of fun to think about, like, you know, just replacing the honeycomb polypropylene with EPP just made such a world of difference. And then separating the foams a little bit with 1 or 2 millimeters, you know. I'm sure there's, you know, little minor, kind of sort of minor tweaks that it will happen in the current menu options at the factories that will create a new revolution. So we'll see. Anyhow, just wanted to mention that.
So what do you think the thought process is behind, you know, allowing that technology to be sort of given out for free?
Yeah, that was curious too. You know, I think I didn't ask him, but if I had to guess, you know, he is in this factory. He's now one of their biggest customers in that factory. You know, I probably shouldn't say all the other companies that are in the factory, but if you know, you know, right? And just take a look at that particular
You're
build.
probably the only one who does that, John.
No, take a look at that particular build and how many other companies are using that build, and you can get a good idea. Yeah, I imagine there's kind of a give and take, right? You're helping the factory, they're helping you, and in this case, it was an iterative change with current kind of options that they had, and it was apparently Honolulu's idea to use EPP instead of honeycomb polypropylene, and the factory's probably doing them favors here and there by helping them with their R&D, and it was probably kind of a pay it forward, pay it back, whatever you want to consider it sort of thing. So, and to be a little bit cynical here, he knows also, Jam knows that it's going to get out anyway. So why stop it? Just allow them to share that technology. And
So
he's
more
gonna be
just goodwill than anything.
maybe. And he was the first to market with it, right? Yeah, but he also knew that, as always happens, you're first to market, and then immediately there's 20 people to follow.
Which is great, because then there's a new technology right behind that one that's hopefully even better.
Yep, for sure. And he's I think he's doing it smartly, intelligently, in that he's working within the system and not getting kind of eaten up by the system. I think some other paddle companies who are kind of doing a more traditional approach, who were really trying to keep their IP close to chest and create patents on this and get hurt when their IP is leaked. It's just I think it stresses people out so much. These other paddle company owners and Jam is just like, all right, this is the system. I'm going to work within it, and he's probably far less stressed out than some of the other.
And I think we all benefit, which is great.
Certainly, consumers benefit for sure. Yeah. So let's jump into pedals of the week, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a few this week. We'll start with the Adidas Adipowers.
I got one here.
Yeah.
This is the one I played with.
Okay. So these are an entirely new line from Adidas. And first off, first thing I want to mention, way better than anything they've had before in their lineup. So
better than the metal boom?
What? A giant leap forward for Adidas. These are Gen 3 foam enhanced paddles with honeycomb polypropylene in the center, and we've got two shapes, a 14 and a 16 on there. Elongated, which is what Jaume and CJ Klinger are playing with. I think they both play with the 16 actually. This is the shape though, and then they have a wide body option too. I only got the 16. I'm not sure if they're making this in a 14 also. But it's almost like a notched foam thing they got going on here. Not exactly like the Honolulu's, but instead of foam in the center, they have honeycomb polypropylene. But there's like a linear band of foam up top, and then you've got some notching along the sides. And I think the polypropylene goes down into the handle.
Okay.
Did you get that price?
$190.
$190. Okay. I don't think they're doing any kind of discount codes, but I'll put a link to Pickleball Central. If you use my affiliate link, then you get, or anybody else's affiliate link through Pickleball Central, then you get cash back on your purchases.
By the way, I rediscovered that link on your website. So if anybody's looking for that or any one of a number of other referral links, that's the place to go.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of these. Eddie, I'd like to get your impression of how they played.
You know what, John? I came into demoing these paddles with some experience with, I guess, a pre-production model or perhaps a model they sent out to clubs and retailers as kind of a teaser of what was coming. That paddle was absolute crap.
Was that?
It was kind of what we had all come to think of Adidas. Not the highest quality, maybe a rush job.
Right.
But they've done something between that initial pre-production and this. It's a different paddle altogether. So if that's been your only experience, give this one a try because the experience is night and day.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I haven't played with the originals, but I don't mind how these play. Kind of give us your thoughts, if you could, on firepower, spin, all that.
I would say average firepower. The spin is decent. It's got good dwell time, and the feel is good in the sweet spot. It's not going to overwhelm anybody in power. I would put it the middle of the power tier.
I was just looking up. We got KewCore things on these, and I did. For full disclosure, I KewCore tested the prototypes of these for Adidas before they went to market. I played very minimally with the prototypes, but I've put in a few hours with these, and I'd put these. Definitely think they're power paddles. I'd put them in the power category, but probably on the low end of the power category.
Did you get a swing weight on this? This one in particular, I played with quite a bit, and it's got some heft to it.
It's beefy. That's the one drawback to these paddles is definitely that they start stock with very big swing weights. Not necessarily the static weights are like 8.1 to 8.3, I think. Yep. But that 16 was like 126.
It felt pretty
127. Chunky. So you have to have a very high tolerance for swing weight if you want to play with these elongated ones. And the 14 even, I had it written on here. I think this one was like 122 for a 14 millimeter, maybe 123, 14 millimeter elongated, pretty chunky. And then even the wide body, which is the 16 mil, was 118.
Yeah.
I do remember that number on this one. So they all come stock pretty heavy. Now there is kind of a, if you don't mind the weight, the swing weight, that added swing weight does provide the plow through and some feel benefits. You know, they do feel very dense when you hit the ball. It doesn't give you that hollow feel like the JOOLA Pro 4s, which some people like, some people don't. There's a very kind of denser feel, good plow through with these. Yeah, with full swings, I think they definitely, on the power pop spectrum, lean toward the power side of the spectrum, where with full wind-ups, you can get a lot of juice, They're just not as easy to maneuver for the flicky shots and the counters at the kitchen. So I feel like the pop felt a little lower. Actually thought the sweet spot was good, particularly on the wide body. I mean, that sucker has one of the better sweet spots, out there. I'd call it well above average. But with any wide body, you do get twisting when you hit off center. It's not like a brick wall when you're hitting it. And typically with wide bodies, I'm putting some 3 gram pods at 8 and 4. I like to even go higher on most wide bodies because they start at such lower swing weights. But that's going to be pretty tough with this one starting at 118 swing weight. That's about the maximum that I like to go. So I'm already capped out in terms of putting perimeter weighting on this. I might be able to add something at the cheeks here to boost to shore up some of that twisting. But, you got to be good with these stock, and you got to be good with some weight in your hands when you're playing with these.
Folks in my play group really like the plushness of this. Like you said, it doesn't have that hollow feeling. It's more of a stable, firm feeling.
Yeah.
But that was really appreciated by the folks in my group.
Okay.
John, do you have a preferred swing weight for an elongated paddle that you feel like is kind of your sweet spot?
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I like them to start out stock under 120. So I've got a little bit of room to manipulate it with perimeter weighting until I feel like I got it dialed in. And usually it ends up at 118 swing weight up to 121 I'm comfortable with. But I don't like it to start over 120.
Yeah.
How about you?
Exact same.
Okay.
If I can be at or under 120, I'm good.
Okay.
Stock at 117, 118, give you a little bit of room to play with.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Yep. I think a lot of people share that sentiment. But I'm not mad at these paddles at all. I think they're a good option from Adidas. Glad to see them come out with their kind of first, it's going to be perceived pretty well. And then, the one drawback I think is the swing weight, but clearly the pros aren't minding it. They're playing great with it. Jiamei made a deep run in this past tournament.
You dig the gold?
Not a fan of the look. How about you?
It's all right. It's not off-putting.
Yeah. I mean, I just call it kind of mid looking. Nothing that makes me mad about the graphics or the colors, but it's just, I'm not the biggest fan. Is that orange?
No, it's gold.
Gold? Okay.
Yeah.
Not the biggest fan of the look, but just not something, they didn't do anything wrong on these paddles overall, right?
Yeah, like it.
All right, let's move on to the new Engage full foam. This is their Pro Foam. What they send us, just that one paddle. I haven't checked the website to see if it comes in different shapes. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind looking up the price on that one.
Sure, you got it.
Too. I spent all my time on the bags for the notes prep on this one. But yeah, this is their newest one. It is full foam. And by the way, I've got a new series that's already starting to come out where I just go out and give like first hits impressions. And I put a lapel mic on and kind of talk through my drilling sessions. You and I will go out and do that as well. And then there's some KewCast stuff, and separate videos, and there's another one with the radar gun. So I've put out the first 2 so far for the Luz paddles. This I've also recorded, so this will be coming out this week in terms of just some really initial impressions. At that time, I didn't know exactly what the makeup of the core was on these, so I was just kind of guessing on the court because I got the paddle, I looked at their website, and it wasn't clear. It just said, full foam. I didn't know if it was dual or multi-density foam, like a floating foam core, or if it was like, one slab. Since then, I've gotten a little bit of clarification from Engage. It sounds like it's a single sheet of expanded polypropylene EPP foam with some holes in it, with some voids in it, really similar to the carbon true foam Genesis. There is a layer of fiberglass in the layup also. So that's what I guessed when I was on the court. It didn't have the same feel as like the Selkirk boomsticks, the Honolulu J2NFs, et cetera, as in terms of the floating full foam cores. It had a denser, kind of flatter feel, linear feel, very similar in my estimation to the carbon true foam Genesis series. However, I do think that these are thermoformed because the frame felt much stiffer than the carbons. It didn't have that neck flex. So that I think is probably a bonus for people who don't like the flexible frames of the carbons, but want a paddle that has that linear profile similar to the carbons. But yeah, I think that's what's going on inside the core.
Yeah. The feel of this paddle is like dead on for me. I love the way it feels. It's got that buttery kind of plush feel that you don't get in every foam paddle. I struggled a little bit with sweet spot on this. It's on the narrow side for even an elongated offering.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, that would be my only weak point on this. But overall, it generates good power, good spin, great feel. Just that sweet spot.
Yeah. I did have the twist weight. I can't see it on here anymore. I think it is right around 120 stock. So it's not super heavy. There's certainly room to add some perimeter weighting. I would add some down on the cheeks. But you're right. I mean, look, that is a very gentle taper. I mean, if you love your two-ease, you can go way up on the handle with your hands. But that gentle taper instead of a steeper one. What I mean by gentle and steep is here's an ideal, in my opinion, elongated shape. You have a good size handle, and you've got a steeper taper, which provides, kind of cheeks that stick out a little more and provide twist weight.
Yep.
I would encourage everybody who hasn't seen last week's episode of Pickleball Pursuit podcast with Lewis and Justin to go check out their talk last week about twist weight on the paddle and, whether or not a taper in terms of the paddle going up from the 8 and 4 o'clock up to the top, the classic 6-0 diamond shape, whether or not that actually impedes performance. And their conclusion is that, in fact, it does, because there's not just in terms of twist weight, but some other things. Anyway, very nuanced discussion. I thought it was really good, so go check that out. Anyway, this is an example of you're losing a lot of twist weight because of that really gentle taper. Yeah, I felt it too. There's some twisting that needed to be shored up, and otherwise, I think the paddle does play pretty good.
We're at 229.
229? All right, so it's not, it's a little lower actually than their Pursuit Pro line, that was out. I'm sure these are not made in the U.S. I imagine that they're finished at least in China. They're probably constructed entirely in China, especially if they're thermoformed. I'll verify that though. But otherwise, yeah, spin is good. The feel is good if you like the kind of denser feel and plusher feel of full foam paddles. You know what it felt like? I'm just kind of realizing this. It felt a lot like the Enhance Gen 4.5 paddle. Remember that one? We hit with
Okay.
several weeks ago. This plays really similar to that. So I imagine there's some holes or semi-holes in the interior of this, and it's just a single sheet of expanded polypropylene, maybe even with some edge foam if it is thermoformed, but not a bad option. I mean, it's definitely an improvement in the Engage lineup, for sure. If I had to be honest, even though it's cheaper than their older paddles at $220, you said?
$230, $229.
$229?
Yeah.
There are a lot of paddles in the $100 range, up
my
to
goodness,
$200 range that I would say outperform this. But good to see Engage moving in the right direction and becoming, more relevant.
Yep. These painted edge guards are really, they look great, but they're so delicate.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
They show really brightly that white under the structure underneath the paint once they're scuffed up. So that's just something to be careful of.
Yeah.
Definitely get some paint protection film or something on there to preserve that beautiful gradient.
Yeah.
That I love so much.
Oh, is this a gradient?
Yeah.
Sometimes I hate being colorblind.
It goes purple to blue.
I'm seeing like maybe a hint of lighter blue down here and darker blue up there.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
So you can see the change.
Barely, yeah.
Okay.
But anyhow. All right. Moving on. Let's move into the last paddle no, we got a couple more here. So,
Do we?
yeah, the wide body from Friday. Where did I put it?
Right behind you.
Thank you. Yeah, so the Friday Fever, this is a new formulation for them. I think this is coming out Friday of this week. And they did have a wide body prototype. I think they sent us before, but maybe it was even on the market. But they've tweaked the formula. It's still a $100 paddle, so a really good deal. And it's still Gen 3 foam enhanced. So there's honeycomb polypropylene with edge foam and other foam enhancements. But they made the cell size 10 millimeter on this, so it's a large cell polypropylene. They had the horseshoe of the EVA or TPE foam. I'm not sure which exactly, but very similar to the JOOLA. And then inside that is a layer of rubber in between the foam and the polypropylene. And it's like a thin layer of some type of rubber that they're not going to share yet. I'm sure it'll be shared at the factories in China soon. But yeah, and I found it interesting how it affected the performance. Did you get a chance to play with this?
I did.
This
Yep.
week? Okay. Yeah, I definitely felt like it did not have the hollow feel of the JOOLA Pro 4s or as hollow as the older of the Fevers from Friday. It's definitely made it a denser feel, took away some of those vibrations for that immediate response you feel, connection to the ball. It made it plusher and just denser overall. But yeah, I mean, I think it plays great for people who like that plusher, denser feel. And I'd say that, the sweet spot is better on this than, some of the full foam paddles that don't have the edge foam, right? And we were just talking about the Engage as feeling dense and plush at the same time. So I wanted to kind of distinguish how this is different. With those foam enhancements, you do get a broader sweet spot, I feel like, on this than some of the other options out there. Firepower level, I put it top of the all-court or the bottom of the power category. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty fun feel with that rubber component inside. I definitely feel like it changed the feel of the paddle.
I'm thinking that rubber has some weight to it as well because the sweet spot on this paddle is exceptional.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, even without the additional weight that I put on there, it has some stability.
I played with it. So you put these pods on at 9 and 3, and I was playing with it stock and to give my initial impressions. That video will come out this week too. And I remember saying with my initial impressions, because I'm playing everything stock in those videos, just to compare apples to apples. But I remember saying that, yeah, I was getting twisting, as with any wide body or any paddle, period, without weight. I was just getting twisting on the sides. I was wanting to put some weight. And then I played with this yesterday after you put the pods on, and that definitely makes a huge difference. It starts with a 114 swing weight, so there's room to add weight. And I imagine it's probably like 118 or something, 116 right now. But yeah, it starts a little heavier than some stock paddles.
I think it feels great. Like you said, it's maybe not for everybody, but I love the feel of it. That sort of weightiness, controlled but dampened feel. I really enjoyed it. In fact, of all the paddles I played with this week, this is my favorite, and I did not think it was going to be that coming into it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I still have unfortunately, potentially the preconceived notion that Friday is just kind of a cheap paddle, and they've just come so far recently, and I need to change that. And this paddle, this thing is a winner.
Yeah, I mean,
especially for the price, but even without that, it's a winner.
I mean, yeah, like literally, it is a cheap paddle because the price is $100, but the performance is there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
For $100, this is a great option. Now, 3 months ago or 2 months ago, I feel like this would be like at the top of the heap for value at $100. But what's crazy now is that now we have the Gradic Visos, we have the Rhombus Quantas, and we've got the Luz Canon. All these are just exceptional paddles at that $100 range. So this has got some steep competition, but I don't think it's slouching. I think I would say there's a market for this for people who like the honeycomb feel, because all the others, well, besides the Canon, are full foam. The Canon is only in elongated, so if you like the wide body shape, you like the polypropylene, and yeah, I think this is a good option. I do like the tweaks they made to this. I think the 10 millimeter cell size plays well with this, and then whatever rubber they're using is kind of a fun
So the
little
makeup
thing.
on this is different than the elongated we played with just a few weeks ago?
Yeah, but they will carry this technology over
Gotcha.
to the elongated as
Gotcha.
well.
If you could tell me what that graphic is there, John, I would be very thankful because I can't figure it out.
It looks like, boy, I don't know. No guesses for me.
An amoeba?
Amoeba, I like it. My Rorschach ability right now is at a minimum. All right, haven't hit with this one much at all, but you've got some pretty paddles behind you. The new Thrive elongated shape in the Fury, and the Fury came out a bit ago.
I love these stat cards they're putting on here.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I'd left those on for a reason. I would just wanted to remind everybody that Thrive does the swing weight, the twist weight for you, and tells you the balance point in terms of categories, so head heavy, head light, that sort of thing, which I think is such a valuable option. They actually have, swing weight machines at their warehouse, and they do this for every paddle, and you can actually choose on their website which swing weight category you want. And I feel like, yes, I wonder why not many other paddle companies have done this, because it's so useful to the enthusiast crowd, and maybe it is just the labor investment, because it probably takes half an hour per paddle to get all, well, maybe not, maybe 15 minutes per paddle to get all these stats, right? Which, when you add it up over the broad scheme of things, adds up in terms of labor costs. But I think it's a very useful thing, and it's accurate too. So I tested this one yesterday on my graffiti machines and got within 0.1 of a difference. Like the new colors too. And you and I, for a reminder for our listeners and viewers, the original Thrive Fury was in their hybrid shape, and you and I were very impressed with it.
So fun.
Yeah, it was a sleeper for us. Like, we didn't expect much. We hit with it that day at the Pickler, I still remember, and I was like, man, this is a really, really good paddle. Now, very similar to the YOLA Pro 4s, like very good in that sense. It has a bit of its own unique personality. I think the foam inserts they put into the neck here are a little denser and thicker, very similar to the new RPM layout from James Ignato Witch. And I feel like the sound of it's louder than the YOLA Pro 4s. It's a very satisfying, low, clunky Gen 3 sound when you hit it. So hit with this some yesterday and very much enjoyed it. The grit on these is very aggressive. I was getting a lot of dip on the ball. The feel was great. I think you just hit with it on a Dink Master this morning, right? Or did you get a chance
not at all, no.
Okay, gotcha.
No, but if it's anything like the hybrid shape, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Now, these are $200 before code, so that's a consideration. There are a lot of Gen 3 options out there, including like the Luz Canon, that are now down at $100. So there's steep competition in this space. But if you're a fan of Thrive, and it's objectively a great paddle to play with too. So I could see spending $200 on this. I think that's justifiable. But know that there are cheaper options out there with similar performance, All right. That is it for paddles of the week. Let's move on to gear of the week. I've been wanting to do a bag roundup for a while now because we've got, between the two of us, we've got mountains
We are
of
surrounded
bags.
by bags here.
So I had to make a short list, and we'll cover some of these. So, Eddie, I'd like to get started on your bags that you brought first, and then I'll move over to mine.
Yeah, so my long-term, I've been carrying this thing around daily for a year now, John, is this ADV backpack. This started on Kickstarter. They had kind of a full-size tour bag version, which I don't care for because of it, the way it opens, kind of in a clamshell style. This backpack was an add-on during their Kickstarter. I'm like, well, okay, I'll give it a try. This thing has been through the wars and has held up amazingly. It still looks more or less brand new. The fabric they use, the zippers they use are all just the best in class.
Okay.
They've actually released a new model. It's called the Flex. That is basically this backpack, but shrunken down maybe by 20%. All the same quality characteristics of this bag, and it is amazing. These zipper pulls, still smooth as silk. I love the way the top opens up here. Just easy access to everything.
That's a much better opening than I remember the original full-size backpack being, where it was like a
Yeah, you had
clamshell.
to open up the whole thing, like almost 270 degrees around, then open it up like a big clamshell, and that just wasn't working for me.
Gotcha.
But this bag has done everything and more over the last year.
Looking at the volume, because I have volume on mine, 37 liters on that sucker. So that's even though it's smaller than their original, it's a pretty, you can put a lot of stuff in there. How many paddles would you say you can stick in there?
It's got a sleeve in the back for 3 and then an additional sleeve inside that you could use for a laptop or another paddle. So I would say 4 comfortably.
Okay.
These aren't the cheapest backpacks, John, but they are
$250 for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are backpacks that are over $300 out there for sure. So, but like you said, it's a good quality backpack. All the materials are top notch on this.
I challenge you to find a backpack that you can throw around literally every day for a year and have it hold up as well as this one has.
So that's been your main?
Yeah.
For a good while? Okay. Good stuff, yeah.
I like sling bags, John, especially when I'm traveling light. I've got all the stuff I'm going to wear to the court on me, so I'm just looking for a bag to carry 2 balls, 2 paddles, and a bottle of water, wallet and keys, that kind of thing. I love a small bag for that. So I've got 2 winners here that I really have been enjoying. One is the carbon sling bag, over the shoulder, 1 strap. But it's got tons of options for storage for both balls and water bottles. This will hold 2 paddles easily. Carbon does an amazing job with their zipper pulls. They put these little tabs on every single bag they sell, and they're just easy to grab and yank on.
Okay. I was just looking up the price of that, Eddie. $60 for that thing.
No way.
Yeah. And Pickleball Central, I'll put a link down below too. You'll get a discount on that if you follow my link. So
Yep. And there's thermal protection here for your paddles as well.
yeah, that's a good price. I mean, certainly a niche product. You're not going to go on a tour with that.
Nope.
But like you said, there's a use for it if you want to run out of the house quickly with 1 paddle, 2 paddles, and a couple of balls, right?
Yeah, Relish and Autry are both like maybe a half mile from my house. So I can get on my bike. I'm already wearing my clothes. I just want something to throw over my shoulder.
Right.
It's perfect.
Like
this
it.
bag, but also this bag here, maybe not a daily carry, but at least twice a week I'm carrying this thing around.
This is FORWRD's formerly kitchen, right?
Right.
Okay. And
So expandable water bottle pocket here. It's got kind of that surface that they've kind of become known for. It's very ruggedized.
yeah.
I don't know if it's waterproof or just water resistant, but it's very solid. And then that tackier, thicker material on the bottom here in case you're throwing it down on a rough court surface or even mud or water.
Yeah.
It's going to be safe.
It is. I love the bottoms of the FORWRD bags. That actually did work too. I was at a PPA tournament in Texas with their court caddy bag a couple years ago now, and I had the bag sitting on concrete. We were eating lunch, and it started raining so hard outside the tent we were sitting in that water, like an inch of water, ended up pooling up on the concrete. The bag was sitting there before I realized the water was pooling up, and I grabbed the bag, and everything in the interior was dry.
It's really well made. I don't know what the price of this one is.
I was trying to look it up, but
it's pretty amazing. Plenty of room in here for 2 or even 3 paddles.
Yeah.
And, one drawback of a sling bag sometimes is you got to throw it over your head to get it on and off. This is a really unique locking mechanism here. It is magnetic.
Oh, nice.
And then you're good to go.
Oh, that's really slick.
That's handy, right?
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff where I'm like, should I spend $20, $50 extra? Oh, yeah. The magnet.
And the sling is reversible. So if you prefer to throw it over one shoulder versus the other, there's attachment points here on
That's
on
great.
both sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great bag.
FORWRD has it together when they're with all the like fine details of the bags, just they have it dialed in. I couldn't find the price, but
and that's held up well over an entire year's worth of use.
Okay. Good.
What do you got, John?
Do you want to punt it over to me for a minute?
Go for it.
All right. Well, I'll start with kind of what has been my main for a good while, and that is the FORWRD Court Caddy. Well, everybody knows what it looks like, right? It's been my main for a good while. It's not cheap. I think they're like $300 and something. Let me pull up my notes again so I can speak intelligently here. Yeah, it's $325. Capacity on that is 30 liters as opposed to, I think that big bag that you showed first was 45 liters. Is that what I said? Or 40 liters maybe. So it's not the biggest bag, but I have been able to travel with it. And you can be of one of two mindsets. Either you want a bag that carries literally everything that you have. And in this case, this probably wouldn't be the bag for you if you're going like touring on a tournament, that sort of thing, traveling for a tournament. Or another mindset is you want a bag that you can carry most things in and have an accessory bag to carry the other things. Because I don't want to always carry all my camera gear and tripods in one bag. I want something that's more lightweight. So this is perfect for that. And I'm able to carry 1 to 4 paddles very easily or more if I want to sacrifice some other space. But I also have my sunscreen, I've got my food, I've got my water, I've got, the lead weights and all the things you carry in your backpack. You can totally go solo with this bag if you need to for just a day, right? And then I have if I want to bring other stuff with me, camera tripods, extra cameras, that sort of thing. I'll have an extra bag. There are add-ons, cubes you can put on the exterior of this, another like a stretchy thing to put another paddle on the exterior or a shoe box, a shoe cube, that sort of thing. So, that's if you love taking your 2 or 3 pairs of shoes with you, then you're going to need the cube or a bigger bag. So that could be a drawback for you. And just the price tag is a barrier to people. Like for a bag to cost over $300 is not an easy ask. But all the materials are pretty amazing. I'm going to get the bag. There's no reason not to show it. So one of my favorite things about these FORWRD bags is they stand up on their own because of that bottom kind of ruggedized rubber. And for whatever reason, it drives me crazy when I'm loading my backpack if it's just like this floppy thing that just flops over, right? Like a sad bag of leaves or something, right? This is a solid, very solid frame, stands up on its own. And I've used the crap out of this thing for years now, and it still looks very good. Yeah, it has the magnetic, the attention to detail on these. So these magnetic ball inserts, you can slide balls into this. The issue with the ball pockets is if you fill up particularly both sides with balls, it reduces the interior compartment size a lot. So you're not able to stick like 4 or 5 paddles in here. You can get like maybe 2, 3 max in here because the balls are taking up some space. However, if you just fill up one of the sides with balls, you can still fit the paddles in there. There's limited space, but it's very smartly organized. And like I said, I've traveled with this thing. It's my main. So all of the materials are spot on. You've got the high quality zippers, the polycarbonate coated ballistic nylon bottom. We've got the textured TPU nylon boot. We've got the zippers, like I said, YKK, so the top line zippers. One issue, I don't know if they fixed this, but these little pull tabs will break if you consistently use them alone to pull the zippers. So I grab onto the metal part of the zippers. I would like to see more durable ones there. I had to change this one out. It broke, but I got this. Selkirk made me this little thing.
That's very cool.
On the Selkirk tour, so you can, modify it as you need. But yeah, I feel like this is a very intuitive, really super high quality pack. Now, recently, Ethos Pickleball sent me what I would consider to be a competitor for the Court Caddy bag. Ethos is the brand that makes the Dunamis paddle. Remember them? Yeah. So they collaborated with a bag luggage brand called Duravo, and created this. And it's a very similar size. It is a little bit smaller. So the capacity of the Court Caddy is 30 liters, and the capacity of this Ethos bag is 25 liters. So you're losing 5 liters of capacity. Now, Duravo is kind of a manufacturer of kind of high-end luggage, and as far as I can tell, this is exactly the same as what they call their Duravo laptop backpack, which is like a travel laptop bag. I don't know if anything was modified for this collaboration besides clearly this carabiner clip to put your bag on the fence, but otherwise, from the description on the Duravo website, it looks exactly the same, but it does turn out that it does work very well for a pickleball paddle bag. It is on the smaller side, like I said, but it has some things that the Court Caddy doesn't. It's got a lot more organization in here. So if you like to travel with passports and stuff, this front pocket just has a ton of really kind of smart options for organization. Mesh bags and nested pockets here, stuff for pins, and I've got Guess how much I paid for this?
I don't even know what it is.
Sunscreen.
Oh.
I paid for it at the PPA because I forgot.
How big is it? 2 ounces?
Yeah. $60. $60 for
I was
this.
going to go high at 20.
I paid $60. That's how desperate I was for sunscreen with my history of skin cancer. It's a little stretch. I mean, I love the fact that there's just so many little options in here. I'm a big organization kind of person, right? And then we've got this bag with more organization. I've got both of my pair of safety glasses, protective glasses, and then more stretchy mesh bags in here. The third area for the paddles, you can fit 3 in here max. I do carry around 3 all the time. You could probably stick in more, but there's only sleeves for 3. I would like to see these sleeves be a little more, a little stiffer. They're so flexy that when you have 2 paddles in here, you try to get your third one in, it squishes down. Yeah, so that drives me a little bit nuts. Then you've got a cool, very protected laptop compartment on the side. It hasn't been an issue with the Court Caddy, but the Court Caddy's laptop pocket is in with the paddles, so I can see potentially dinging up your laptop. This is highly protected on the side here. And I love this really hard.
What's that about?
It looks like a twill weave carbon fiber, but it's actually made from some polymer, like an environmentally friendly polymer that provides a lot of structural support. And it also stands up on its own.
Yeah, so that's going to just keep that bag from flexing.
Yeah. So I was actually...
Looks like a great travel or office bag. Or a little bit of both. You're going to the court after your work, and you need your laptop with you. It's fantastic.
It's very kind of, it doesn't have a pickleball look. No. So if that's important to you, not a bag for you, but certainly it's a dual multifunctional bag. Like you could take this to an office, to a professional business event, or to the pickleball court, and it works just fine. Yeah, and there's just all kinds of
Looks like this will slip over a suitcase.
Yeah, that'll go over a suitcase. Yeah. Definitely is this. You can carry it on to a plane. It's the correct dimensions for that. The side pockets for water bottles, you can't fit. I mean, they are stretchy, I'll give them that, but you can't really fit the biggest bottles in there. So it's a little size limited. I would like to see it a little bit bigger. I feel like the 30 liter Court Caddy bag is better for what I need it for. But I'm going to try this. I'm going to take it probably to Dallas for Worlds, instead of the Court Caddy, and just see if I can manage with this plus an extra bag. But so far, I've been duly impressed. $230 for this, so not as expensive as the Court Caddy. But yeah, lots of good stuff with that.
Yeah, again, if you're going incognito to the office and you're looking to sneak out for a quick match at lunchtime or after work, this is a way to kind of travel in style and not be like pickleball forward.
Right. No pun intended. Yeah. So I'll put a link. I didn't even know that Ethos made bags. I think this is their first bag, but he sent this to me. And I wasn't expecting much, but I was pleasantly surprised. Let's throw it back to you, Eddie. You got some more back there?
Well, we've been using this GRUVN bag for a little bit, John.
Okay.
I think if you're looking to not spend a lot of money on a bag and just want something to throw around that's going to get the job done, this is a nice offering. It's particularly if you don't mind the color choices.
Is that
very
teal?
Bright. It's teal, yeah. It's got some refrigerated sections or thermo line sections on both sides. I do like a top opening bag.
Yeah.
There's no better option as far as ingress, egress for a bag.
Yeah.
Quality fence hanger. Nothing's crazy special about this. It's not going to win any quality awards. No YKK zippers on this, but it gets the job done.
Okay. I'm going to give I've used it too, and I've got one major advantage I see as a big perk, one big pro, and one big con. And I asked you, Eddie, when I gave it to you, I was like, see if you can figure out the thing that bugs you about this backpack. And did anything bug you about it?
No.
Okay. Well, first, let me start with the pro. So, bright interior.
Yes.
Love that. Open that up, you can see all your paddles. I mean, that is such a given for any paddle bag, but yet so many paddle companies make their
Pitch black.
interior of their bag pitch black, and it's like reaching into a black hole. You need flashlights to get in there. So I love that. The major con for me was this hook. There's no way to tuck it in, and I would have it on my back and try to pull it off, and it would hook onto my shirt.
Oh, really?
every
I never
time.
had that problem.
Really? Okay. Well, yeah, I would. If I had this, I would have to cut this hook off because it was driving me nuts. Or, yeah, just create a pocket to stick it in. Currently, there's nowhere to put it. But, yeah, I mean, do you know the price of this?
Let's look that up.
Okay. I like that there's a laptop compartment in the side, too. I think I'm going to guess this is under $100. For under $100, it's pretty feature rich and not bad from GRUVN.
Yeah, they've got a couple different offerings. I'm going to say that one's $100.
Okay. It is?
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
So $100. Not bad.
They're calling that the small court backpack, and I would agree with that. It's on the smaller side, but
Yeah.
not everybody wants to carry a huge tour bag.
Do they give you liters capacity?
No.
Okay. I'm going to guess that's under 30. It looks smaller than the Court Caddy. I imagine it's 25 or so.
It does come in black as well.
Okay. Let's look at another FORWRD bag. So they brought this out as a cheaper option alternative to their Court Caddy. And this is called the Court Ranger. It also has the ruggedized bottom. It's freestanding, which in my opinion is a big perk on bags. It is much less feature rich, although there's some good functionality in here. So you have the secret pocket here for your personal belongings. You've got less room for paddles. It's a smaller capacity. It's 25 liters instead of 40, I think was the... I'm getting my liters mixed up. 30 liters for the Court Caddy. So you're losing 5 liters here. All the materials are very good. You're getting the YKK zippers and tracks. You're getting ripstop TPU coated polyester on the fabric here. It feels high quality. You got the top zipper too. And yeah, this bottom of the bag helps resist moisture and crud getting into your bag. It's just a solid option at a little smaller capacity as well, but a much reduced price. So, if you're okay with kind of a smaller bag that's still good quality, $175 I feel like is a good price. You know what? Given that they have to ship these kind of bags in a box rather than fold it up and stick it into an envelope, that alone increases the price of the bag to a big extent. The shipping costs are ginormous for these. And that includes this, that includes the Court Caddy, and that includes that Ethos bag as well. This came in a box as well because you can't collapse it. So there's some trade-offs with, producing these really high-quality freestanding bags in the sense of higher shipping costs. But yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with this. I haven't used it much. It's the same capacity as this, but there's this Ethos bag, but there's so many more options and features for this Ethos bag. So I would definitely prefer this. It is more expensive than this, but I think it's a good idea for FORWRD to come up with a cheaper option, a smaller bag. Looks good too.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
How about that 6-0 behind you?
Yeah. So I'll talk about the tour bag first. I didn't bring it in today, but the big tour bag, we talked about this on a previous episode, but it's $150. So one of the cheaper, massive bags, 60 liters capacity on that thing. So that's the kind, if you're one of the people that wants to take everything on your back, like carrying around a house on your back, this is a good one. They fixed the top strap, which on their early versions would break, come loose. Mm-hmm. That is now reinforced and fixed, and they've added some other things. Overall, great bag. I feel like for the $150 range, you can't really beat it. And they get YKK zippers on the new 6-0 bag.
It is a gigantic bag.
It's a gigantic bag. Did you bring a tour bag from Carbon too?
I did. This is their protein tour bag. Massively high quality. The fabric on this is indestructible. It's very solid. Again, the Carbon zipper pulls they're just so easy to grab onto. Mm-hmm. What I don't love about this bag, and it's true of a lot of tour bags, is the single zipper down the front.
Yeah.
Because it never opens quite as completely. I mean, this one does a pretty good job of opening up once it's fully unzipped.
Yeah.
But I prefer a double zipper.
Yeah.
That lets you open it up completely. You get a nice wide channel in there to access your goodies. This one has the dark interior. It is a little bit difficult to find things. Mm-hmm. But the quality of this bag is really fantastic for $140.
$140. Yep. Okay. So it's even cheaper than the 6-0. I do believe the 6-0 has the double zipper opening. I'll verify that though. But yeah, I was duly impressed with that. What I'm most impressed about in the 6-0 bag lineup is this guy here. Notice. And the more I use it, the more it's become kind of an essential. This is the other bag I typically carry around, especially if I'm going to the court and you and I are hitting with a dozen or more paddles.
It's a garbage bag.
Yeah. I mean, this thing holds so much. So this is called the Performance Backpack. It comes in at $110. It doesn't look that big and it doesn't feel that big on your back, but the sucker is 45 liters.
It's huge.
Capacity, so you can put a lot in it. The thing is super durable. It gives me Army vibes, the texture of the fabric here is very, very durable. So it's a heavy duty 1000D Cordura fabric. And then it's pretty basic in terms of the options, but it gives you what you need to stick a bunch of stuff in your bag and go. So you've got this front panel with hooks for keys. You got mesh zipper bags here and a couple of nested pockets in there. We've got, if you wanted to carry a laptop in here, you could. You got two compartments for different things here, and then kind of a nice open space in the interior for sticking a bunch of paddles in. A pocket in the top. We've got a couple of fence hooks here on the back. It is comfortable. There's padding on the back. Mm-hmm. Even fully loaded up with 30 pounds of gear. It feels good. It doesn't hurt your back to wear it. And yeah, this has become kind of my second main, and I'll probably bring this when I travel to Dallas for Worlds. I'll probably bring the Ethos backpack. Normally I'd bring the Court Caddy, and then this will be my backup for camera gear and extra paddles and that sort of thing.
I love the style of this bag, John. Just the big cavernous opening that just sometimes you don't want to or don't have the time to be well organized. Just having a big space to just dump stuff into is fantastic. For me, just two little nitpicks on this bag, actually three. One is the mesh on the side. I wish it kind of was a little bit larger that I could get a pair of shoes in there.
Oh, that's smart.
I was able to do it, but I definitely had to work at it.
Okay.
So that's one. The second is the fence. What do you call those things? The fence hooks.
Yeah.
They're tiny. And so once they're on the fence, you kind of have to work to get them off.
Oh.
I wish they were just a little bit larger.
Yep.
And then the third thing for me is just a design thing, and that is that right where your hand is.
Yeah, that big go next level.
Go next level. Luckily, they sewed it on, so it's probably easy to just take a seam ripper and take that off. But otherwise, the quality of this bag is fantastic. A lot of options.
Yeah.
For just hooking things on, and
it's even got these straps.
I like that.
You can add shoes if you want to, probably with carabiners here. There's one big mesh pocket on the side, and they divided the other mesh pocket into two, which you can fit balls into each compartment if you want. So good stuff. I like this one a lot.
But yeah, the other day we were I forget where we were headed, but some people wanted to try out some paddles. They were like, "Well, can you bring all the shapes of the new carbon?" And it's like, okay, I'll just use this bag because I can throw it all in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Good stuff.
We already talked about the chorus bag last week, but I'll show it again. This is an example of the two zipper pull open in the center. I would like to see a brighter interior instead of the black, but I think this is $100 or something, close to it. Eddie will look that up, but it's not the best materials. It does have the same hook as the GRUVN bag, but you can slip that hook into this little compartment here and get rid of it instead of it hooking on the back. So I like that. The shoulder straps are, not very padded if you loaded this sucker up. But for the price, what's the price?
$120.
$120. I feel like that's a good option. They also have ball dedicated pockets down here, which, they're doing little iterative changes on, I'm sure, what are,
John, that's a little
options.
thing, but it actually makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the balls are kind of pushing into the bag, taking up interior space. But having that space dedicated on the outside really makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. And you can fit a lot of stuff in here. I'm sure it's like a 40-liter capacity, This is one of those that I was so surprised when I got it because it literally came in like a little envelope,
Right.
A big-ish envelope. And then I was like, oh, it's like an accordion. You can really open it up. This would be if you want to go budget on a tour bag option, this is a good option. What else we got here?
We got this Holbrook backpack. It's an interesting kind of hybrid of a backpack because it opens almost like a tour bag here, but it's probably it's not the size of the Chorus or the 6.0 tour bag. It's more along the lines of a standard backpack. So if you're looking for kind of that hybrid shape, this is an option. Some of these pockets are on the small side.
Yeah, they could have gone wider with that for sure.
Yep. I tried to put my phone in my wallet here, and it was a very tight fit. Oh, my contact lenses. I was looking for those. So that'll fit in there. But it's a good-looking bag. I'm not sure what the price is. We can look that up.
Okay.
But it's, have you had an opportunity to try that one, John?
Yeah, briefly. If you wouldn't mind looking up the price. I'm curious. It does have a shoe compartment on the inside. I feel like this feels kind of an important space in terms of capacity between the giant tour bags and then kind of the smaller backpacks, because it is kind of a hybrid between those two. It's light in the interior, which I like. It's got interior pockets. They're kind of maximizing space, providing more features. Lots of little options in here. I'm kind of digging this one. Oh yeah, I know I wanted to test. There is a hook, but it's a locking hook.
I had a problem with that one as well.
Yeah. So pro and con to this is that it's not going to hook onto your shirt because there's nowhere to tuck it in here. But the con with that is that it's very small, like you mentioned, and it's hard to get off the fence.
$130.
$130? Yeah. I think that's fair. I would like to see a little, like this is kind of a useless pocket. It's so small.
It's very small.
Put your keys in there. Maybe a phone. I don't know. That might be your little personal pocket over there. But yeah, I think it looks good. There's a lot of features in this, pretty feature rich. And yeah, it does kind of fill that space in terms of capacity between the biggest bags and the backpacks.
So John, your mains are the FORWRD Caddy.
Yeah, that's my main, and I'm
do you have a
trying
tour
this
bag?
out. I'm trying this Ethos out as my main right now.
Okay.
I've been using it for a few weeks now. I'm liking it.
Do you have? What would you take to a tournament?
Just for the sake of reviewing it, I'm like the Court Caddy is my main, and that's what I'm used to. But I'm going to take this to the next tournament together with the 6-0 backpack.
Gotcha.
Not the tour bag, but this guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. How about you? What are your mains?
My daily carry is at ADV.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great everyday bag.
Yeah.
Sling bag from FORWRD for that quick trip to the court. And then for a tournament, right now it's the Carbon tour bag for just, you need towels, you need change of clothes, you need an extra pair of shoes, socks, everything.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Like it. Man, that was an exhaustive list of bags. Who knew that would blow up into so much? All right. Well, let's move on, Eddie. I'll keep this brief. I'm not going to go super deep on this, but I got a little more tales from the ball cannon this week. So Brian Fitzpatrick visited last week, the owner, creator of Graffiti, Swing Weight Machines. Always good to see him. He actually moved here to Colorado. I had forgotten, but he lives in Colorado Springs. Before he lived in Dallas, over by Matt Cox with Chorus. They're friends. But now he lives in Colorado Springs. He drove up for the day. He wanted to see the ball cannon and what's going on in the lab. And he brought, I think I stuck a picture in the notes. I don't have it in mine, but he brought 2 of the exact same paddles. One had a neck reinforcement, and these were the original Chorus Super Quartz. So they're Gen 1s with this crazy long handle and the funny looking short head. But they're Gen 1s, so they're very flexy in the neck. And he 3D printed a neck reinforcement. It's actually a full handle pallet that goes all the way down to the butt, and it goes up through the handle, and then there's like a Y shape. I'll show this picture in the B-roll that goes along the neck of the paddle that's epoxied onto the paddle.
Okay.
And I did test the flexibility with my kind of rudimentary technique of clamping it into a vise, putting a 10-pound weight on the end, and definitely the one with the reinforcements was stiffer, had a stiffer frame than the one without. So what I wanted to test was, okay, we have 2 identical builds here. How do they perform differently or not with QCOR testing, so PBCOR testing? And did you have a preconceived idea on whether or not a stiff paddle versus a flexi paddle would the stiff paddle come in higher, the PBCOR lower? What are your thoughts?
I can kind of see it both ways. I think a stiff paddle, intuitively would just sort of instantaneously return that power right back into the ball, whereas a more flexible paddle would maybe inject some power into the ball vis-a-vis that springiness, right? But I think we talked about this a little bit last week in that it actually doesn't, right? It kind of absorbs that power versus returning it back into the ball.
Yeah. And that was my preconceived notion, especially after our deep dive last week where we talked about how the flexibility of a paddle, and the more flexible it is, the more likely it's going to kill the sweet spot, because when you hit off of the sweet spot on a flexible frame bat was the research we're using, baseball, softball bats, the energy of that ball goes into creating the vibrations off the sweet spot because the bat is more flexible, and that reduces the potential kinetic energy of the ball return off of the bat. And I think it's the same way for paddles, and that's why I was theorizing that the Gen 1 paddles, the reason why they have a dead spot at the top is because they have flexible frames, and that ball energy is being absorbed into and giving you bad vibrations. It's both dying off the face and making it feel bad when you hit it at the top of the paddle. So going into this experiment, I thought all day the stiffer frame is going to yield a higher return, especially off the sweet spot. Not the case. So this totally was backwards from what I had predicted. So in fact, the flexi paddle scored higher on PBCOR, and we did it quickly. Brian was only here for a couple of hours, so we didn't test the entire paddle face, but we tested at 3, 4, and 5 inches along the paddle face. But there's enough of a trend there to see that not only is it opposite of what I expected in terms of overall, but I expected a much steeper drop off on the flexi paddle outside of the sweet spot. And yes, it is slightly steeper on the flexi paddle, but not nearly as much as I would have expected. So the sweet spot here is 4 inches. You're getting a nice boost in the flexi paddle in terms of overall QCOR. And at 3 inches, you can see it's much closer. So yeah, it's a tighter curve for the flexi paddle, but not as tight as I thought. So I don't know what in the world's going on here. So actually, I did talk with Justin, Pickleball, et cetera, and this day we did this experiment. That morning we were on a conference call together with other pickleball paddle reviewers with PPL, Pickle Pro Labs, who does the testing for PPA. And they had just wanted to invite a bunch of paddle reviewers to kind of do a virtual tour of the lab and talk with some of their engineers and experts. And that was a really good talk. And this topic came up. Justin brought it up on the talk, and he actually, I hope I can say this, I'll ask him before I publish this, but he did this same experiment with a paddle company he was consulting for on USAP's PBCOR. And they sent in the same build. One paddle had a flexi neck and the other had a stiff frame. And he got these exact same results. And both of us were like, what in the world's going on here? So we were talking with the PPL folks, and Curtis Cruz, the kind of the supervisory engineer at PPL, came up on the spot like a really good explanation for this, a good hypothesis. We don't know if this is exactly true, but he's saying that he was like, this doesn't make sense to me either, but the only thing I can think of to explain this is that the stiffer ball returns more energy. And what we're seeing with pickleballs in particular is the more they deform, the less kinetic energy they're returning. Like when the ball flattens out on a surface, it doesn't bounce as quickly off that surface. So he's saying maybe with the flexible paddle, that little bit of flex prevents the ball from being deformed as much as a stiffer paddle, and the ball is actually responsible for the lack of the ball deformation, or the reduced ball deformation on the flexi paddle might be returning more energy to the ball because the ball itself, not because of the paddle. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a very kind of interesting hypothesis, and that's something that could be tested with a very high-speed camera, right? But yeah, that's kind of an interesting little tidbit.
Is that true about balls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even independent of any sort of paddle interface,
yeah,
a squishier ball, a softer ball is going to behave differently than a stiffer ball.
Yeah. That's why I use a 50-mile-an-hour inbound as opposed to a 60-mile-an-hour inbound, particularly with balls with holes. They deform so much when you get over 50 miles an hour.
Right.
You see a drop-off. Remember those curves I did on the scatter plots? It shows like a linear increase. The more inbound speed you have, the more outbound speed you have. And then you get a threshold event at 45 to 55 miles an hour where the ball starts deforming so much that you actually get a drop off. And at 60 plus miles an hour, the ball is coming off slower than the ball's at 50 miles an hour, right? Because it's flattening out on that surface, right, and not able to return as much yield. So lots of spin-off.
Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, but people might think, wait, that doesn't make any sense because the faster I swing a paddle, the faster the ball comes off. And yes, that is true to an extent, but you're losing efficiency of the ball over 50 miles an hour combined ball inbound speed and paddle head speed. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But just because you're losing efficiency doesn't mean that if you swing as hard as you can, it's going to be slower than if you swing it at 50 miles an hour. Do you know what I mean? Because the efficiency is dropping, not necessarily the combined inbound outbound speed. Do you know what I mean? So whether or not that explains this is up for debate, but I thought it was a kind of an interesting answer. So we'll see. The other issue is this reflective of the reality of how the paddles play? I did not get a chance to play with both of these.
That was my next question.
Yeah. So I'm asking Brian if he could potentially make one of these. They're paddle specific, so it's not like you could use this on several paddles, which I was hoping to do, but I'm thinking maybe get one that fits a few different models who have the same length handle and the same taper neck, and test this on paddles that we know and can play with and without that brace. So fun stuff there.
All right.
So Eddie, your Q&A 20 questions last week was very popular, so I wanted to turn that back around and give you a quick answer 20 questions this week. So let's move into Q&A.
Let me prepare myself.
All right. Let's get started here.
All right.
So let's learn some things about Eddie. All right. First one. What kind of kid were you? Were you like the athlete, the class clown?
Class clown all the way.
Were you?
Always joking it up.
Okay.
Always trying to make people laugh. And that was just really an attempt to just make friends, fit in.
Love it.
That whole thing. Yeah, definitely.
I can see that.
All right.
Who had the biggest influence on the person you've become?
This guy, John Williams. You know what? I'm not sure about that. I can't think of any particular like adult figure that had a really strong presence on me growing up.
Any teachers, professors, anything like that?
No, I can remember though, and this might be a little bit deep, but I was the only person of color in my entire community outside of really my own household. So I grew up in this very rural area of Maryland, very much a farming community. And so I think that was part of the being the class clown thing, is just wanting to kind of fit in. And so I just remember having that sort of be ever present in my developmental years.
Okay. I love that. Are you more of a mountain, beach, or a city person?
Oh,
and
mountain
why?
all the way. That's why I'm here in Colorado.
Okay. You like the hiking?
Yeah,
outdoor
hiking,
scenery?
skiing, the winter, the summer, everything about the mountains is great. I lived in North Carolina, and so the beaches are great. But after a while, you baking in the sun all day, and it's just not appealing to me anymore.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm not so much a beach person. I don't mind it for vacations, but I would not want to live there full time. Very much a mountain person. Although I'm sort of shifting. The cold that comes with the mountains is starting to get a little, burdensome as I'm getting older.
For sure.
As his metabolism's slowing down.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy my son is taking up residence in Phoenix. So be more trips to Arizona, particularly in the winter months.
Something like that. All right. What's one piece of conventional wisdom in pickleball you totally disagree with?
Third shot drop.
Okay. Yeah. Drive it all the time, right?
No, not all the time. I believe in having a great diversity of shots available to you.
Yeah. It would be a tragedy if you didn't take advantage of your drive on thirds often.
Yeah.
You still get me with those all the time.
and middle solves the riddle, I guess, is one conventional piece of wisdom. I think that works a lot to a great extent, but I don't think that you should necessarily give up on a down the line drive. Yeah. Those can be very effective as well.
Okay. All right. Between feel and data, which matters to you more when picking a paddle?
I think you can answer that for me, John.
That's why we're a good duo here. I'm the data guy. You're the feel guy, right?
Feel all day long.
All right.
You can have the best performing paddle, but if it doesn't feel good, I don't think it's worth getting.
Okay. Would you go so far to say that even looks of a paddle would be?
I think looks are up there. I think our listeners tend to focus more on feel and performance than they do looks. But, you could have a really awesome car, but if it looks like, a box, it's not of interest. There has to be something, there has to be some sex appeal to the paddle that you're picking as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a whole system.
Yeah. I think we're aligned on this for sure. If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would it be?
Oh, my goodness. I kind of like it here in Colorado. But I don't know, maybe somewhere in Asia. I haven't spent a lot of time in Asia.
Okay.
My parents are from Korea. They came here a long time ago, like back in the 50s. I think it'd be cool to explore the homeland and see what life in Korea is like, and maybe even check out some pickleball while I'm there.
I like that. All right, what's a personal goal you're working on right now that has nothing to do with pickleball?
Oh, wow. I'm starting to think more and more about retirement, John. So I'm in my late 50s. It'd be nice to be able to start retirement soon so that I can enjoy the things I like to enjoy without the burden of a schedule or employment or things like that. So, there's the sort of the mental aspect of that, because it is a massive change, but there's also the financial impact of that as well. So getting all those pieces in play, they're definitely front of mind right now.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a raise, Eddie.
Okay, perfect.
That'll take care of all your financial needs.
You could double my current and it probably wouldn't get me there, John. Sorry.
right. How do you mentally reset after a bad game or tough loss?
Man, John, that is tough. I've struggled with that over the years, and we've talked about this. I think that was our very first show. It's
Yeah,
like
I think so.
New Year's resolutions and that kind of thing. And I still struggle with it. And sometimes it's a days-long process to get over a bad experience. I'm still working on that. And there's no easy answers for me.
It could be months for me. Honestly, it's just like that's one of the hardest thing is to reset. And pickleball is such a fickle thing too. Like some days you're on and you're amazing, but more often for me, it's just like I can't hit the ball in the middle of the paddle all of a sudden, right?
Exactly. I've quit pickleball like 6 times this year. I've quit this show like 3 times. So I think it's, when you get like that, there's going to be ups and downs. But if I can step back and look at the bigger picture and see that, there's been a pattern to this in the past, that pattern's probably going to hold true. But there's always kind of the long term, right?
Yeah.
And the long term is that pickleball is very enjoyable. The people are fantastic.
Yeah.
And if I could just focus on that, that'd be great. It's just hard in the moment.
It helped me actually in an ironic sense was my injury, being away for 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
And just missing it so bad. Like you start to focus on the things that, like you said, the bigger picture. And then when I came back, just realizing how joyful it is to be on the court, experiencing with friends, just that it's such a fun thing to do,
Yep.
So we can't take that for granted in those dire moments when nothing's going our way.
Right.
All right, what's the single biggest improvement you've made in your game over the past year?
I think it's just the diversity of the game, bringing more shots, hopefully, into the arsenal. They seem to come and go. But one thing I'm doing lately is I invested in a pickleball machine, the Titan Pro.
Do you have that yet?
I do have it. I've been using it daily almost.
Great.
It's a fantastic tool to be able to just get those repetitions to sort of burn those shots into muscle memory. I'll come out with a long-term review of this product because it's got a lot of strengths. It's got a few weaknesses.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that maybe in a future show. But
Yeah.
The time to drill and the investment in that is definitely worth it.
Yeah. Maybe in a couple of weeks, you can come up with a short list of how to effectively use a pickleball machine. Because I think a lot of people, and myself included, when I got one, that was one of my first pickleball purchases, big ones. And immediately I was like, all right, I'm going to set it up and work on my third shot drops and then my drives, And yeah, it's effective for that. But there's so much more to the Titan in particular because you can program it to do sequences and that sort of thing. And I'm sure there's a way to really highly effectively drill with a pickleball machine that most people are overlooking. So it'd be cool to get your perspective on that.
But to answer your original question, John, there's still so many gaps in my game. My right side game is terrible. Hopefully none of my competitors are watching this at the moment. We've already lost them.
We'll just stack you on the left, keep you over there.
Okay, perfect. Very good.
All right, if you had to host a solo episode of the KewCast, what topic would you choose?
Oh, I think we would go. I like the idea of an ongoing leaderboard of my top favorite paddles, whether it's the top 5 or top 10 or whatever. I would love to be able to just show our audience what it is that we're carrying or that I'm carrying every day that I find effective for my game and make that an ongoing discussion.
I like that. You mentioned this, and this is something we'll eventually do. But yeah, even having like a physical board behind us with our leaderboard. I like that idea.
And the paddles are coming out so quickly, but there are, I would say if I'm to narrow down a top 5, we won't get into what those 5 are today, but there are some that would be on that top 5 for quite some time, and there are some up-and-comers that have kind of snuck onto that list just here in the last couple of weeks. But I think it'll be interesting for people to see like what the mindset is for how those 5 came to be, and then kind of how that's shifted over time.
I like that. I thought your favorite topic would be your favorite gradient edge guards. An entire episode.
I'd also like to do a topic, a discussion around just like doubles play.
Okay.
Mixed doubles play, men's doubles play,
Yeah.
just the dynamic of that, what makes for solid partnerships, what makes for chaos and friction sometimes, how to move on from bad relationships, how to start new ones. I think there's a whole
I love that.
universe of discussion out there.
you're full of good ideas, Eddie. But I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like our podcast, we spend so much time, we have so many paddles to talk about, and yes, that's definitely the most popular part, and that's our, that's our biggest interest too. I never want to move away from that, but we have moved away a little bit too much, I feel like, from kind of that self-improvement, not directly gear-related stuff, how to improve at this, how we feel about playing certain things. So that's a great idea on how to be a better doubles player. That's
kind of the really interesting part of pickleball is that it's kind of a microcosm of our daily interactions with people.
Yeah, right? For sure.
Because we're not robots. We definitely have fallacies and foibles. And, success on the court is really about a partnership, not just two people with various skill sets.
Yeah, with the swing weight of 118 paddles and twist weights over 6.
Right, exactly.
All right.
John, these are great questions. They're tough.
Right. What's something listeners might be surprised to learn about you?
I don't know. What do you think?
We've covered some things that you are good at that nobody would ever guess, right? Like you're proficient at unicycling. In fact, how about this? You show up at the court a couple of months ago with the new device. You have the Uniwheel Segway. Is that what it was?
It's an electric unicycle.
Electric unicycle. Yeah. Okay. Like zooming up, that's when you got your Sling backpack on.
Oh, right.
Zooming up on one wheel. I'm like walking down to Autry, and here he comes.
I've always been drawn to just quirky, offbeat things.
Okay.
And that's probably one of the things that got me into pickleball to begin with. Is just at the time it didn't have the mainstream acceptance that it does today.
Yeah.
It was quirky, it was different. It was played by a really kind of niche crowd, right?
Yeah.
At the time it was mostly senior people, but it wasn't well known, and that's okay, that's something not a lot of people do. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of gets me into these crazy electric vehicles and other hobbies that I have. Orienteering, which is a ton of fun.
Yeah. We're learning a lot about Eddie today. All right. What's something small that instantly puts you in a good mood?
Snack food.
Okay.
Give me a bag of Funyuns or white cheddar popcorn.
Okay. Funyuns, man. I have to stay away from those. I can't stop eating them. That's good.
You could put a cake in front of me with a big bowl of ice cream, and it's it does nothing to me.
You're savory.
But a salty snack, I'm all over it.
All right. All right. If you could see any band or artist live, past or present, who would it be?
Okay, so I'm a child of the 70s. So all the pop music from the 70s is kind of my thing. I would love to see Billy Joel before he passes on. I don't think he has a whole lot of years left. He doesn't have a very healthy, outlook. But I'd love to see Billy Joel, just live, Madison Square Garden kind of thing.
Yeah, I dig it. Billy Joel, a legend. 10 years from now, when you look back on the KewCast, what do you hope people remember you for?
Hopefully for what they think of us right now. That the partnership and the chemistry that we have is. We're not the same person. We're not two Johnkews or two Eddies.
Right.
We bring kind of two perspectives of the same thing in a different way. And I think that's something that has a lot of staying power. Yeah. That people appreciate what I may contribute in terms of feel of a paddle, forgiveness of a paddle that's unquantifiable. Whereas you bring the data side, obviously, the scientist perspective. And I think that's a winning formula, I hope.
I think so, too.
Are we at 20 yet, John?
We've got a few more here. All right. What's one fear or limitation you've had to push past, either in pickleball or outside it?
Fear or limitation. So I'm not the biggest guy. I'm 5'8", 150 pounds, fully dressed.
Walking out of a rainstorm.
Exactly. And so while it's never been really a limitation per se, would I be a different pickleball player if I was someone that's your size? Probably.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of advantage to being your size.
And I try to tease that out in the different activities that I do and certainly in pickleball. I try to take advantage of the things that, I can bring still.
Yeah.
Which I think are hopefully some fast hands, good reaction time, ability to anticipate.
Yeah.
getting low on dinks and,
Yeah.
scorpion type shots
Uh-huh.
and that kind of thing. So, yeah, there's a lot of challenges to being on the shorter side for any sport.
Yeah. No, I think in pickleball in particular, I don't think there's like a perfect body type or size, but I certainly think that it benefits smaller players, craftier players, more than other sports. Look at Jaume Martinez-Vic, right?
Right.
Like you and him, I feel like he might even he's probably a little shorter than you, I think, and just wicked fast. And your play style reminds me of each other.
Okay.
Crafty, quick.
Well, if not
Don't ever speed
pickleball,
up.
I'd probably be a short track speed skater or something.
Yep.
Which is
like it.
something I've
You've done
delved
that too.
into.
That's right. I remember that. All right. Do you think you're more of a thinker, a grinder, or an instinct player?
Probably an instinct player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think there are better players out there who think 2 and 3 shots ahead. That's probably not me, honestly. But I can think in the moment very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, in a kitchen fight or a hands battle or something along those lines. I can usually anticipate pretty well the direction, speed, and angle of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I try to be more of an instinct player, but my mind gets the better of me. I think too much on the court. I want to get to a space where I can drill enough where it's instinctual and I can turn off my thinking brain during a competitive match, right?
I'm all lizard brain all day, John.
I like it.
You're a higher evolved creature.
I wish I could just, turn off everything but my amygdala at certain times.
Right.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Ooh. You know what we talked about on question 1 about growing up kind of an outsider in a homogenous community. There's some anger issues early on in life.
Yeah.
I got into a number of, fights as a younger person just from feeling like an outsider.
Gotcha.
Be better to not be so angry,
All right.
not hold on to that.
Yeah. Realize it's not important, right? If you're what other people think.
I went into a Hardee's one time. I don't know if that's something everybody knows
we
about.
had Hardee's in our hometown.
But this guy was working there, and there was an Asian girl working in the back, and he said something very derogatory to her. And I reached over the counter, and I grabbed him, and I pulled him over the counter. He was bigger than me, but I was just so like Incredible Hulk. Like, I pulled him over the counter, and I threw him headfirst into one of the garbage cans.
Wow, that's crazy. Don't mess with Eddie.
So it's okay, it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do.
So what came out of it? Did what happened?
He was just he was just very apologetic. He wasn't going to take it any further because clearly I was insane.
I love this. Did you ever go back to that Hardee's? Or were you banned from Hardee's?
I did.
All right.
Never had any issues after that.
All right.
Just, not good to be so angry all the time.
Oh, in that particular instance. Hey, made a good story, right? All right. Do you have any a morning or a nighttime routine you're oddly particular about?
I gotta have caffeine in the morning, and usually that's in the form of coffee. And if I don't, man, I get a raging headache around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So coffee for sure. And if I'm playing, I actually prefer pickleball in the morning or having a discussion like this in the morning because my mind is very active. But by the time the afternoon doldrums roll around, 3 o'clock, man, I'm gone. I'm gone. It comes back around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But morning's my time.
Gotcha. All right, 2 more questions, Eddie. When I go off on a paddle physics tangent on the show, what's actually going through your mind?
Puppies.
Puppies, I like it.
Yeah.
It's
If I have a dreamy look and I'm smiling, it's because of the.
Now we know. Last question. You get to pick one pickleball pro to be your doubles partner in a money match. What's your choice and why? Who's your choice and why?
Oh, gosh. Is it mixed doubles or men's doubles?
Either.
I am going to go with Anna Bright for mixed doubles.
I like it. So why?
I like the play style. I like the intensity. I like what she brings. I think that she and I could have a wonderful partnership.
I love it. All right.
I think she's got a like a funny, like awkward personality too, if that makes sense. I mean that in the nicest possible way. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool.
I agree. I think her new vlog series is fantastic, and it opens up a new side of her that not many people see. I saw it when I chatted with her before, like when we ran into each other, and she's such a personable person on the court. Very focused, as you have to be. Like, you have to play your game according to how you best play it, and she's tapped into that, and it's very kind of almost angry vibe to her. And I think a lot of people mistake that for that's the way she is all the time. She's not. She's a super nice person and really intelligent, super smart person. So,
but there are times when I'm going to need a Vivian too.
Yeah.
Right, because
I think Vivian's my partner.
Yeah, because sometimes I need the cheerleader. I need the fun girl on court.
All right, that is
John,
20 questions.
That was fun, man.
We could have dedicated an entire episode to.
Yeah, we'll do that again.
I had an update from I went back to look at one of my old jobs, and we had a Myers-Briggs personality type test.
Okay, yes.
So remind me what yours was again?
INTP.
Okay, mine is INTJ-A. -A. So there's
I'm not familiar with the last component.
There's an introverted, intuitive, thinking, judging, and then A is an assertive subtype. The assertive part is you show confidence in your direction, rarely second guessing your reasoning, once your data supports it. I am data driven, that's for sure. But
people with the INTJ personality type tend to be highly independent, confident, self-sufficient. They are analytical, creative, and driven.
Okay.
Commonly referred to as the architect or the scientist.
Well, I guess that makes sense in some
So,
things, yeah.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did you back your way into that?
Right. All right, good sir. What are we at here? Well past an hour, but this was a fun episode.
Good stuff.
I
enjoyed it.
Yep. See you next time, Eddie.
All right, John.